Welcome everybody. Welcome to The Mediator, where it is my duty every day to give you love and affection. I'm talking about a 50-50 love. It feels good, yeah. Loving somebody when somebody loves you back. And that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you love and affection where hate is my kryptonite. You are in The Mediator with me, Brian West, where it is my duty to give you the top 8 headlines top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it throughout the week. I've spent all week eager to get in here to talk to you, to talk to somebody. I've kept myself isolated in the snow, warm under a warm blanket. I've been trying to keep warm, but I couldn't wait to get warmed up with you so I can give you the top 8 headlines, developing news stories. If you want to contribute in any way during the show, all you have to do, or after the show, all you have to do is go to the website www.method8inc.com. That's method8inc.com, and buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Or you can just sponsor a program. Or if you want to stop by the office, I'm at 5648 Market Street there Monday through Friday, and I'm there giving out services to the community. It goes back into the community. I try my best to serve as possible. Like I said, a 50-50 love is what I'm looking for. That's not that 75-85 love. I'm talking about a 50-50 love. So I'm doing my best. Like I said, I'm coming in here every week, and today's show, if you can get anything out of it, top 8, I've been looking through. There's a lot going on in the world. As usual, we have 3 weeks to get our act straight, or we're going to get punished. Somebody's going to take us hostage and try to get some walls built. Who knows? But that's probably going to be in here today. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, you go to method8inc.com, method8inc.com, and all you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. You can also check the stories that almost made it into the top 8, or if you want to do some research yourself, the stories are always uploaded on our Twitter feed as soon as you go to the homepage. If you cannot hear me, if your signal is not strong enough, you want to tune in online, you can go to www.600wsom.com, and you can tune in online. Like I said, it's my duty, my supreme duty, to give you the top 8. Let me read the disclaimer really fast. These top 8 stories, folks, are only documented for records and to highlight topics for those in the business of talk radio, talk media, and those who just want to stay informed. Before I forget, let me get the book of the month out of the way. The book of the month is All You Need to Know About the Music Business by Donald S. Passman. It's an educational book. It's actually available on the website. Anybody who's ever wanted to know about the music business, he's written several books about it. He's actually got some revised copies. Really good read. It talks about the ins and outs. If you have somebody who wants to be a musician, wants to learn about music, that's the book of the month. Okay, folks, it's time. It's time. Oh yeah, it's time for the top 8 stories. Story number 1. We just had the Martin Luther King's birthday was on the 15th. We just had the holiday on the 21st. And story number 1 is evaluating American civility. Folks, they say that we're starting to get a little bit undisciplined. Teachers are saying they're trying to teach, but the kids are not listening. A lot of stories that relate to this topic, and people are concerned about civility. If you look up the word civility, it talks about positive hospitality, just being not just a good civil servant, but having a positive attitude about your surroundings. There were a bunch of stories that crept into the news this week. I mean, when you talk about what uncivility, what it is, if that's even a word, when you have things like a New Jersey school basketball game, a brawl breaks out, and it was caught on camera. When you have stories about a woman attacking an employee at a mall because her card was declined, people jumping on employees at the mall, or police being gunned down. This is not civil. And people talk about Dr. Martin Luther King a lot, and when they were talking about civility, this is happening all across the United States. There were a bunch of stories that made it into the news. They were talking about Catholics being abused, and Indians and African Americans and black Israelites, people just causing civil unrest, and there's always been a push for civility. I'm telling you right now, I've always, when it comes to stories like this, there's when you've got an idea of something like the way the way we interact with each other in the country. You can joke, you can have fun, and you can do things, but at the end of the day, it's great that you're not executed for it. You may have to go through some persecution, but there's always people coming to your aid in this environment, and that's what I can say. In other countries, in some countries, it's just not like that, and people go to jail. I think there was a story about a rapper who has to do 5 years for making a video. There's just a lot of brutal punishments in other countries where, I mean, women are not allowed to go out and drive, and some people say that Americans have either we've just forgotten about just things, or people just doing this because they're free, or they just want something to be heard. And there was also some stories that when you talk about incivility, just people just having civil unrest, multiple people shot in a hostage situation at a Florida bank. And this is just different, and this is different, and then you look at how people are shaped in America now that you have this two-sided system where people are battling on each side, and Republicans are looking for votes, Democrats are looking for votes. And I was talking to one of the board ops when he was in here. We were talking about how most Republicans don't understand how Democrats have been able to get the minority vote, not just the minority vote, but black vote. And this is becoming a big time issue when you talk about right and left. Like I said, the mediator, I choose to stay in the middle to hear from each side and try to dissect each side. But this is becoming a hot topic, and the Republican Party is really fighting for the minority vote, and it's becoming evident that it's a weakness in their party because they have not been able to attract minorities, and they cannot figure out how the Democrats have been able to do it. You see, when you talk about civility and you talk about politics, this battle to gain voters and to try to appeal to each base is causing civil unrest, because many Republicans are going into these communities. Some of them even live into these communities, and they're starting to. It's creating a separation gap. Even when they don't understand the policies. Like, how could there are actually a lot of African American Republicans. Martin Luther King was actually a Republican, I believe. So this is. And they're going into these communities, and they're homing in on issues that have been probably swept under the rug. These are American domestic issues, and they're bringing them to light. And there's a lot of things that are coming to light that have to do with story number one, is evaluating American civility. When you have they've got stories about Mexicans and people breaking the law. Back in the day, it was unusual unless you were fighting for a cause to break the law, and there's just so many laws that are changing. And it's a question, it's like a question that people ask yourself: are laws made to be broken, or are laws made to protect people, or are laws made to just protect the people with money? Is there some type of injustice that's causing all of this uncivility in America right now? And that's what probably will surface in these stories when you have Michael Cohen postponing Capitol Hill testimonies, claiming that he's been receiving threats from the president, from his political party. Folks, this is the real deal. McDonald's customer threatened employee with shotgun for not getting hot sauce with his fries. But there are some good stories. There are some good things that are surfacing, like a barbershop. Barbershops are launching reading initiatives to build confidence in their youth customers. So even when you have all of this uncivility and things happening, people acting completely crazy, just doing crazy things, there are people doing some good things. So story number one, it just crept its way in because of the fact of all of that in one nutshell. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, you go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. MethodAidInc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I'm making my duty every week to go through tons of stories. I mean, tons of research I have to do before each topic. I've devoted. I'm a single retired man, so I've devoted my life to what I enjoy doing. That's trying to stay active. I've lived a long life. So if you want to contribute anyway, all you have to do is go to the website METHOD, the number 8 INC.com, MethodAidInc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. It does not take much, or you can just sponsor a program, or if you want to stop by the office, get a service, buy something, sell something, put something on the market. All you have to do is stop by 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio. I'm there from 10 to 6 Monday through Friday, and you can just stop by and just try to just show some support. I don't see any of the money that goes into the business. It goes back into the community for projects, independent projects. I meet up with people who are in the arts, who are engaging in the arts, professionals, sometimes amateurs, and they always need things. I deal with people who like to train dancers, and sometimes they need donations and stuff like that. So if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8 INC.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you can just sponsor a program. Just the Method 8 Trust, I try to do just a certain segment of society, intellectual property, videos, videography, so much stuff I try to get accomplished with so little time. But let's go to story number 2. Story number 2 that surfaced in, that made it in. How healthy are you, and why ask? This health thing is a big thing, and there are surveys that show that people are having. There was a survey that I found that's saying that people are having a hard time finding out what is actually healthy at the grocery store. And if you remember, as many critics as the Obama administration did have, and Michelle, and but they were trying to gear towards healthy diets. I mean, even, and then you seen this administration, where they thought it was offensive for to be serving football players McDonald's, but nobody knows. I said I'm not a big. I try to stay on both sides of the fence. I try to see which party is doing what, so I don't take sides. But that's a big difference. So Americans are trying. Even you look on social media, you'll see things about how certain fast foods how they have terrible ingredients. But a lot of Americans are starting to hit the gym, and they're starting to watch their health because of medical bills are starting to pile up, and they're starting to actually get a feel that the medical system is not as wrapped up as it is, and a lot of people are watching because of their medical bills. Trump actually has been seeking action to stop surprise medical bills, so he's been on. So he got some. So he's been. Everybody's been keeping an eye on the health issue. But you're looking at somebody who's 72 years old. They say, and he's still running like a well clock. But some people say he's losing some of his sanity. But the guy, I mean, he's getting up every day. I mean, he's ruffling feathers. But nobody can actually tell who the real Trump is, because he's got so many different identities. One minute the guy's on Twitter talking about Nancy Pelosi's hair, the next minute he's at home serving McDonald's to football players, and he's taking. I mean, the guy is all over the place. So he's ruffling everybody's feathers, and he's over in Saudi Arabia hanging out and spending money. So nobody really knows what the president. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you just don't. These guys get in office, man, and they're on Dancing with the Stars. Some of them come from the slums of places, and just their parents. They don't have the same parents, and they just somehow become president of the United States, and then the next thing you know, everybody's got to listen to him. You get to shut down the government, and real deal issues. People just lose their life, and these guys keep ticking. It's a wonder of the world, but people are wondering about people's health. I mean, people are committing suicide. They've had a problem with children having to seek mental treatment because mothers are giving up custody because their children are just mentally They're just mentally, they're not stable. There's also saying that a school superintendent has been facing some fraud allegations. She used her own medical insurance to try to help out an ill student. So there's a lot going on with it when you talk about people's health and what people are doing. I mean, just what they're doing to their bodies. There's a story also that surfaced in here that I'm probably going to get to later on about drugs and what people are taking, the medicines and what it's doing to their bodies. So if you haven't got the message now, you're not working out. I was telling the board op, we were having me and Gary, I mean, we have some amazing conversations before the show. Sometimes we should actually film some of the stuff we talk about before I actually go on air, but it's explicit. I try to keep it between me and him, but there was a I was telling them about just some of the stuff that just some of the stories I had to go through, and some of the things that I had witnessed about just people's behavior and how people are with their doing to their bodies, like they're smoking cigarettes, and some people just don't care. I mean, some people just do not care about their health, and then they don't care until, and then they go to the, some people go to the doctors all the time. I mean, back in the day, you would have you'd have to go just for, you'd have to make an appointment with the doctor, but some people are just, they're racking up medical bills. Some people are and it's creating a problem. Doctors are like very exhausted. There's a lot of it, and it's the reality of the situation is that this can't keep up, especially when you have, I mean, people living off, I mean, people are coming into the country and they're needing medical attention, they're needing medical treatment, and it's creating a big stir. But story number 2 crept in because of the health issue, as people are just not as, and I was talking to them about the older generation, like how they were able to just build so much, how they had so much, they were able to build all this stuff, and they were talking about asbestos was in the air. And I mean, the older generation, I was telling them about Powers Auditorium, like it's the Dior Art Center now, but they've got it was built like by hand, and it was just, you go in there, the artifact, I mean, just the artistry in it is just unbelievable. But this generation, if they're saying that some of us can't keep up, like we're just drained out. But that's story number 2. That's how it crept in, is just how healthy are we eating real foods? Is it a reality that we're being fed terrible foods? Is that really affecting our health? And I've been able, I'm not as, I have some breathing problems every once in a while. I have a lot of sinus problems, but that's probably from working outside. But I've tried to stay in the gym. Like, I've tried to keep myself healthy. I try to lift weights. I try to get, but who knows if I'll ever be 100% ever again. But I can still work out, and that's what I see a lot of people in the gym now trying to work out. So that's a big question. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, story number 2, how healthy are you, and why ask? That's crept its way into the top 8, and just some of the stories, some of the headlines that you're seeing, what people are doing to their bodies, not knowing the effects that it's going to have on their bodies years later. Kids are being peer pressured into doing some terrible things. I mean, the foods that they're eating, sugar every day. I mean, it's really creating a lot of problems in the medical field with the doctors, and that story crept in. So if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you can sponsor a program. You're the mediator with me, Brian West, where I give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it throughout the week. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you just sponsor a program. It is my duty every week to go through the top 8 stories that made it inside the mediator. I mean, this top 8 headlines and developing news stories, to give it to you inside and to deliver it word for word live. There's no tightrope here. I'm walking the line, baby. I'm walking it like I'm talking it. I'm walking it like I'm talking it. And I'm telling you, there is no net. There's no safety net. I'm just in here spitting off just straight off the top of the head. I maybe read a few notes, but That's it. But if you want to contribute, if you want to help out, and you want to go to the website, buy a book, or just do something, click on something, that's all you have to do. You don't have to do much. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method.com, or you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or just sponsor a program. Let's go to story number 3. Story number 3. This story surfaced. Oh man, and it's actually gaining some steam. I heard about it. It was actually in the news for a little. I heard it mentioned, but it was never actually a top headline. But I was dissecting it. It is, why are most Americans living paycheck to paycheck? And what triggered this story was the shutdown, and they had people on there. Like, I mean, some of these guys were crying, and they were really upset about the federal shutdown. And then I had to surf through a few articles, and one article that I found is that the U.S. had failed to be one of the in the top five for annual best countries. So, but people are really upset about their paychecks. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and to be honest with you, I'm retired, but I actually have to live because of the circumstances of everybody around me. I often find myself in a corner because we live in a system where if somebody has it usually affects the bottom, or the people who do not have. So we live in a system like that. I mean I'm not being boastful or anything, but a lot of people probably go through that, where they have to live paycheck to paycheck because a lot of people are around them are suffering. So this story crept in, and this story may gain some steam because of the fact that a lot of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of us have payday loans. I personally have had to take out some payday loans in the past, and I've had to find ways to try to pay them back. I still have to find ways to pay. So these things are really happening in a lot of people's lives. Some people are in credit card debt. They find themselves in credit card debt. Some people find themselves with medical debt, having to pay medical bills. Some people get ahead, and then next thing you know, they end up 5 steps back. I mean, then some people have a full-time job and they can't even pay most of their bills. So this is a real story, and it surfaced just because of the federal shutdown, and it's been going on for a long time. And people are talking about financial literacy is the problem, but the reality is that do you kick out somebody who needs help? So even I had to a while back, I'm just going to reveal a little bit about myself. When I had a bad relationship, and it crumbled. My marriage just crumbled. But I had to go talk to the attorneys, and when you go in there, you have to take, especially when you file for if you have to file for bankruptcy, or you have to get financial counseling. They have like actual multiple choice questions where you have to get this counseling to actually be able to get a certificate to get financial relief. So they'll give you like this financial literacy, and it'll talk to you about like how sympathetic you are to the people around you. And Americans are just real. Americans this is a real country where real people face real circumstances. And this country has always been plagued by either negligence or somebody who just slacks off, who just cannot get, or people just have bad luck. Or you may have the poor. Like right now, there's always a battle between the rich, the poor, and the middle class. And no matter who you put in office, people can't figure out, like, wait a minute, how are these people living? Like when you've got people on TV saying like, okay, federal workers, you should take out loans for your problems. Or you've got people you're working for, and they're living like lavish lives, taking vacations. The employees are suffering. They don't have. So this is becoming an actual story, and it's evolving because people are starting to voice their opinions about why they're living paycheck to paycheck, or why they're in debt, or why they can't get help, or why does the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. So this is becoming, and it's the sad part about this story. I was listening to P. Diddy. But I listen to I try to dibble down with all different types of art, but it's the song is it'd be like, I don't it was actually, I think it was made by Donna Ross, but I think they redid it. It was, I don't owe no one, they want from me, it's like the more money we come about. So what they were saying in the song is, the more money you have, the more problems you face. So it's like, in this country, we have this money problem where people are living paycheck to paycheck. And then there's even a story a few weeks ago about a guy who found out his roommate, his lottery ticket, stole his roommate's lottery ticket. It was like a $10 million lottery ticket. So story number 3, when you talk about people living paycheck to paycheck, this is a real issue. You probably got wealthy people who got big expenses, big time expenses, probably don't even let you know that they got big time expenses. People probably think that they're living. Is this a reality? And is this why there's such a big crime rate in America? Is this why people steal? Is this a reality? So I think it has to do with just people just being. I confess myself, I'm not perfect. I mean, I've got a lot of bad. My family has been plagued by so many woes. I come from a family that has nothing. I barely have anything, and I've worked my entire life. I'm retired, banged up, and I still have to try to find a way to because of the fact that people around me, and you say no, and you can say no, and some people get beat up, some people get stole from, some people get called a racist, and some people just don't have the money, and then some people get put on drugs, and then next thing you know, they're stealing. So this is becoming a real issue in the news. Americans living paycheck to paycheck, and this story may gain some steam because things are starting to surface. And I mean, you could look at. I was telling my mother about how back in the day when I was with family members, we'd have some of my cousins would get in fights, and I would get dragged into trying to break things up, being the peacemaker. And it just came to a point where I realized that fighting actually creates more problems than it does if you just make peace. So I was just telling her, I'm like, that's why I call the show The Mediator, because I've learned over the course of my life living in the jungle that it really solves nothing to pull out guns, to threaten somebody, or to retaliate. Because all it does is, I was telling her about, even when I had to stand up to the bully when I was going to this elementary school. I'll never forget this day. I'm in the bathroom. This guy's got, he's got burns on his arm, letters burned on his arm, and this guy he had the whole class hostage. I mean, just roughing up everybody. So I decided, I say, forget it. I'm gonna stand up to this guy. I'm gonna fight him. I'm gonna put up a fight. And I stood up to him, and next thing you know, nobody helped me. Nobody helped. Everybody else just stayed in the position they were in. And after that, I said, that's it. I'm not standing up anymore for anybody else, because everybody just enjoyed getting the crap beat out of him. So, but I mean, he stopped messing with me. We actually became friends after I stood up to him. But everybody else, he was just, but this is actually still happening, and it has a lot to do with paychecks, because some families are suffering, and they got kids who just got the jungle mentality, and that's how I talk to some hardcore brothers, big jungle brothers. They tell you this is how I get paid. So this is creating a real big time story in America. What do we do when people are living paycheck to paycheck? And if they see you got it, they gonna come hang around you until they get it too. They make songs about it. So story number 3. Story, like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Or the halfway point, you're the mediator with me, Brian West, where I give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made throughout the week. And I try my best to research every topic, hit it nose for nose from every angle. I just have to, I've committed myself. I put my cape on every week. Like I said, I came in, the sun was shining. I'm starting to believe that this is my divine destiny, my divine right as a living being. I come in here, the sun was shining right in the studio. It was like the Lord was inviting me in here, that he just couldn't wait. That the sun enjoys seeing my presence. It comes out, it melts the snow. I felt great. It's my divine duty. I told you, as a child, I was put up to the sky, and my mother, she said, this child was made made to mediate. I took my umbilical cord and I said, I'm ready. Don't put me back in. I'm ready for this journey, this life. If I'm going down, I'm going down making peace, baby. I'm telling you. So let's get to story number 4. If you want to contribute anyway, if you want to help out, show me some love. Show me some support. It's a 50-50 love in mediation. All you have to do is go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com, buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Let's get to story number 4. Story number 4. Ego or just Americans being Americans? When I say ego, I mean that that ability to think that everything you do is just yours, is just your ego. In art, you deal with a lot of egos, people who just come and go. Not too much hospitality, but egos. I mean, in showbiz, you deal with a lot of divas. So Ben Carson, I always call him Smooth Ben. I mean, this guy, Ben Carson's got to be one of the smoothest Republicans I've ever seen. I mean, this guy comes and goes. I mean, I can see why he was a neurosurgeon. I mean, the guy's got, you know, it's going to be all right. And American leaders just need to get off the ego trip and just let it be. You know, I'm with housing secretary, put you out on the street, you get a job, it's good. So Ben Carson is telling Americans, when he was talking about the shutdown, and he was just talking about the leaders, about how they're on this ego trip. And I'm telling you, every time Ben Carson says something, like, I'm watching like YouTube videos, and anytime I see Ben Carson's face pop up, I just get at attention. I mean, the guy is just so smooth. He took the loss of presidency. He wanted to fight, but he just said, you know, you can tell this guy's got like some type of royalty in him. I mean, some type of substance. I mean, Ben Carson is just anything Ben Carson says, I believe. I mean, I mean, it's like this guy. Some people, it takes a lot to impress me, but I mean, he doesn't have a lot of political power, but I mean, it seemed like he would be just like the greatest father in the world. So I'm listening to him talk about Americans and their egos and their leaders, and as soon as he started talking, I said, man, this guy, I mean, he sits in there, you can tell he's dedicated to what he enjoys doing, and if he does it, he's going to try to do it. And he was quiet for a while, so Ben Carson is like, when I remember Colin Powell back in the day, but Colin Powell, this Ben Carson guy, I mean, he's like a new type of pharaoh, like the Egyptian pharaohs, you know. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching him, and he just the way he just does things. I mean, this is if anybody could do anything, Ben Carson can do it. He's just got the name, Benny Carson. So when I'm listening to him talking about American and their egos and the leaderships, this is a sign of mediation. You know, mediators can sense other good mediators. And when I'm listening to Ben, I'm like, this guy is like, cause he comes out of nowhere, and you can tell he has sympathy for the working man. And I'm sensing this, and I'm like, oh, this is some type of greatness. So I'm looking at Americans, and I'm looking at the fact that people are working hard, and they just want some civility, and they want some common type of just some type of help from the politicians. And Ben Carson just comes out like the Messiah. Verily, verily, I say, give these workers their meal, and it's amazing. So that's what brought story number 4 up to, because our Americans just being American, it's just our way of life, that you have black Hebrew Israelites calling you know, people would make America great again. So it's just the character of being Americans. Can we be united? I was even checking about how YouTube has been cracking down on some of the conspiracy videos. What would America be without conspiracy videos or conspiracy gurus? And you know, I'm looking at all of what's been taking place, and at the end of the day, if you cannot just go home and say, I'm a part of this, you know, and you're a part of all of this activity. Some people can get angry, they can go shoot things up, but some people just look at it and they say, this is just the country. It's always been like this. People have always had differences of opinions. People have always done things, and some people just go crazy, and they let it get to them. But it's something about Ben. I mean, this guy came down, and it's like the heavens opened up, and he says, listen, leaders, we need to give these federal workers their due. This isn't right. You guys are having on an ego trip. And when I heard this, I said, oh. But I had to tune in, and that's what got the ego, or just Americans being Americans, at story number 4. Like I said, if you want to contribute, you can contribute anyway. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, Method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Are you living the American dream? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Is this a reality, or is it just something that we've all just had to deal with, or are rich people really not wealthy? Are they just acting wealthy? Or is this a reality? Do these people really have, or do they just have high expenses, or do we just not understand it? Are we being taxed too much? Are the poor or the middle class, or the poor being treated, or is it just a part of this just system of America that we have to live? Are there prophets, radio prophets, are there prophets, people who actually sit here by divine spirit? Is Donald Trump the Messiah sent from the Republican Party to save us, to teach us to own 500 businesses, to live off, to own your own? I mean, to have the ambition to rule the world? Or is he just really what the people are saying he is? Somebody who has some mental problems. Let's get to story number 5 real quick. But is it just a part of being an American? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Story number 5. Is the doctor ready for the worst? They've been talking about a medication that's almost like an opioid, but it's starting to gain some doctor's attention. It's benzodiazepine. And it's causing some stir in the prescription field, because doctors have been having to prescribe it for amnesia, anxiety, anxiety, insomnia, and seizures, and they've been prescribing it for back pain. So the question we have to ask ourselves, and the reason why story number 5 is so important, is that people are actually working themselves to death. People have been dying from overdoses from pain medicines, not just opioids, but other medicines as well. And doctors are becoming physically exhausted because they have to study so hard, and they're just becoming drained out. They're leaving the medical field. Flu season took a turn for the worse, folks. 12 schools closed in at least 7 states. Yes, so this is a real thing, and it's like, when you see this, are doctors ready for the worst? That's why the story crept into the top 8, because we don't know. If you take it years back when they had like the Black Plagues, when you talk about people getting religious or believing that they could be divinely healed, people were actually trying to find ways to treat things, and everybody was asking for God, and did God give doctors the divine knowledge that they could to heal them? Because these doctors are asking for some divine strength right now, because they're going through it. I mean, the emergency rooms are packed. Children are falling off of bassinets. The mothers are getting their kids vaccinated. They said California doctors are alarmed by all of the links of opioid prescription deaths. They're alarmed. Washington state measles outbreaks hits 23, mostly active, affecting unvaccinated children. So this is becoming a really just about the field. Like, if you could get your child in any field, would they take on the journey of being a doctor? It's a tough field to get in, and that's why I'm telling you, this big. When I was talking about Ben Carson, I mean, this guy's been in the neurological field, and he's a born mediator. I mean, the guy steps in, and I just seen it. When it's like the sun came out. Like I told you, when I came in here, the sun was shining. This is divine. This is heavenly stuff. When you start seeking knowledge and wisdom, it's powerful. It's like hitting the game-winning shot and being able to read a book right on the middle of the basketball court instead of waving a trophy. That gold is worth something, and you know it when you understand knowledge. That's what I'm saying. Knowledge is power, folks. It's greatness. Talking about basketball, the Portland Trailblazers fans, they may have been exposed to measles. Where's the doctors are they're out there, folks, and they're needing some care, some tender love, some love, a 50-50 love, folks. Talk about a 50-50 love, folks. This is the real. When you listen to the words, that's Teddy P. It feels good, loving somebody when somebody loves you back. Show the doctors some love. They have a tough field to be in, and they're getting exhausted, and they're tired of prescribing all of these. And people are just out of these sloth-filled Americans. You got to get to the gym, hit the weights, take your vitamins, eat the good stuff. That's if it's on the value meal and it's $7 and it's gonna pump you up. Get pumped up. Oh yeah, that's what. See, if you like I said, if you want to contribute anyway. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where all you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. You're the media with me, Brian Westward. It's my duty, my supreme duty, to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it throughout the week. If I can do anything right in my life, I'm telling you, I can mediate. I feel it. I feel it in my jeans. I got up this morning. I was ready to get in here all week. I just couldn't wait to get to talk to somebody. I'm talking to you. So if you want to contribute anyway, you want to help out, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. It doesn't take much, or you can just sponsor a program. Like I said, I'm in here I'm in the office Monday through Friday at 5648 Market Street. If you want to contribute that way too, and to check the meter, we're at the 45-minute mark. We're 75% of the way through, and we're at story number 6. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Story number 6, a very interesting story. Why are many Americans, not all, so obsessed with getting high? Folks, this story crept in because of the weed market has been booming. Congressman Ryan's up in Akron hanging out with the marijuana plants, and NFL players like Tiki Barber and Joe Montana have been invested in marijuana facilities. Folks, what happened to when you talk about civility, people want to get high. And do you know that there were a lot of women last year that died from overdoses, drug overdoses? And some of these women were pregnant, what the drugs have done to their children. Folks, this is a reality. 6 New Mexico high school students hospitalized after a vaping scare. People are getting high. And they are getting high on the public's expense. They're stealing from their parents. This is a real bad problem. People just want to get high. And when the government shutdown was going on, some of these medical facilities didn't have the money or the resources to stop these people. That's one thing I can say, that Trump is really, he's homing in on this issue. I mean, the guy, like I said, his tactics are a little bit up and down here and there, but he's been saying some really stuff I've been listening to when he's talking about drugs, because this is a really, really bad problem. Americans just have a problem with getting high. I mean, these drug dealers are living. Some of them are living it up. They've got lavish lifestyles. You go into their drug facilities. They have no medical plans for their customers. I mean, the people are just drained out. Their customer base is just, no type of customer service. I mean, it's just, what the president made a comment years ago about drug dealers and how he thinks some of them have they're not stupid people. But I mean, you look at you talk about business. You talk about the product and the consumer. This product is terrible, and it's causing. You look at the family. If I had a product like that, being a businessman, I'm not putting this product on the market unless I'm starting to see some greatness. I have to tell my cousin about greatness all the time. Being on drugs or being in that business, it's not great. Nothing is. People are working for drugs. There's no medical. I mean, it's not American, folks. So that's why story number 6 is almost in the top 8, because people are just everybody's getting high, want to get high. You talk to about 90% of Americans right now, even some of the presidents. Oh, well, it's okay. I just get high. No. If you want to get a high, go to the gym. Swim. Be productive. This is causing a really bad problem. People can't even think anymore. They're shaking. I mean, you got some of the top musicians stressed out. They're walking in sweating, just getting high. Damn. And you know this, man. Let's get to the top 2 stories that made it to the meter this week. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com. I'm not bull, man. I'm not bull messing, man. This is a reality. People just want to get high. And they're doing it at the taxpayers' expense. That's what's sad. They're smuggling it in the country. I mean, oh my God. People, they're grabbing. It was a story that made it in about a student was high, grabbing the teacher's bosoms. Oh my God. Let's get to the top 2 stories that made it to the meter this week. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. We're at the top 2 stories that made it to the meter this week. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, Methody.com. If you want to buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Story number 7. Walls or no walls? Legal or illegal? And why so many people can't make up their mind. Folks, the president has given us 3 weeks, or he's going to try to shut down the government again for a wall. There's some Native Americans that are saying that a wall is not the answer because of the fact that they have land down there, and they don't see the idea of putting a wall on their land. So this wall issue is a big thing, and the fact that there's been policies that have been rolled back about asylum seekers staying in Mexico while their cases are pending. Judges have been declining the order. It's just becoming a problem when it comes to asylum seekers. So the fact is that the immigration issue is a big problem, but there's not a lot of ways to solve it when these people have nowhere, or they're getting deported. And some people are saying that some of these immigrants are productive citizens. They just need a. So the immigration issue is becoming a big problem, and even with DACA and the fact that it's all over the place. I mean, Denver school teachers say they're not reporting teachers to immigration offense. Teachers say they're not reporting immigrant. The fact that even the Pope has been talking about walls, and when there's walls around the Vatican. So there's been stories but Donald Trump has brought this story to the limelight, and he's not letting it leave the media, and it's in the top 7 because of the fact that he's threatening to shut the federal government down again, or just the government period, in 3 weeks if there's no deal reached on this wall. So but is this American? Like, is this what we need? And I was talking before about how you've got to think drugs. These people have built tunnels underground. They've been bringing them in on flights. They've been smuggling. They have found networks to bring it in. They found this out by busting El Chapo, and some of these drug dealers have been talking and telling about their networks and how they've been able to do it. So you look at this, and you look at what's happening, and you've got even volunteers have been put in prison for leaving like water in the desert for people, migrants who have died. There was even a story that broke about how a Mexican murder rate has broken a record of 33,000 cases open in 2018. So is this a reality that we cannot leave? Is this a burden on society that there are people suffering, and this story just will not leave the news? And the president it's almost like, and he's even taken his own federal workers, telling them that they've had to miss paychecks and stuff. So is this story really that important, or is there just something that we don't know? When you look at the fact that when you look at Venezuela, and you look at how the Russians making threats, they're saying that they want U.S. officials out. Is there something that is the government basically hinting that we're headed in a direction where we may need a wall? That's the question. And when you see a president, I don't know Donald Trump personally. I think I give him. I don't know what to say when it comes to politicians. I really don't know what to say, because I've always been on both sides of the fence. But the guy is not. He keeps bringing this border wall issue up, and there's got to be a reason. I mean, the people are saying that he cannot be that crazy, or he cannot be that stupid. But the guy, he keeps bringing this issue up, and he's keeping it in the media. He's keeping immigration issues in the media, and a lot of people who are active in politics, they're starting to, things are coming to light. And does this story have that much girth that it's been in the top 8 for the past? It's probably been in the top 8 for the past 3 weeks. I think it was the top 2. And it's in the top 2 today, which leads us into story number 8, which is But before I get to Story Number 8, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, we're almost done with the show. We're almost through the top 8 stories. But immigration has been a hot topic, and it's not leaving when the president keeps he's keeping it going. He's keeping this story in the news. So story number 8, but like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, you go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you can just sponsor a program, or you can stop by the office up there. I'm at 5648 Market Street from Monday through Friday from 10 to 6 p.m. But serving the community, every bit of service goes back into the community. So if you sponsor a program, you go, you buy a book, you do anything, you go online at METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Story number 8, government hurting government and Americans hurting Americans, and why 3 weeks. So like I said, like I was leading up to this is story number 8, is you've got some unpaid workers who say they regret voting for Trump. We had tons of flight delays. Border Patrol agents were working without pay. Some were suicidal. Some were doing some crazy things. Some have filed lawsuits. And then there's stories about government just the Trump administration being investigated by. And then you've got right wing battling the media, the right wing radio hosts. Then you've got the left battling the right. So we're hurting each other. But a lot of people are sitting back and they're starting to take the mediation role. I always call them the mediaites, and they're saying, "Wait a minute. Now, something we're not getting anything accomplished." Like I was talking about Ben Carson, he's probably just sitting back and saying, "Wait a minute, what happened to getting things done, building bridges, cleaning the roads, cleaning the streets, all of this political theater? People are just getting distracted and they're leaving the main sense of our purpose or our jobs, what the book says." So you've got stories like Roger Stone, who's vowing to fight charges in the Mueller probe, religious leaders finding a new voice, and the religious left leaders finding a new voice in the Trump fight. So people are all attacking each other and everybody's fighting, but are we forgetting the true purpose? White supremacists fighting with black supremacists, killing black men with swords and pleading not guilty. Off-duty St. Louis police officers accidentally shooting and killing other on-duty officers. Artificial intelligence taking over jobs from chefs and truck drivers. And then we have Ocasio-Cortez talking about socialism. So Americans are hurting Americans. But there was one story about a Border Patrol agent who was off duty and helped a man off a bridge who was trying to commit suicide. So those are our top 8 stories. But the question is where all of this animosity is coming from. Is we're hurting each other, and is anything getting done? So that's why story number 8 is in. You're giving us 3 weeks. But the fact is are we going to go back to this back and forth where nothing is actually getting done? Some local stories that made it in. Tim Ryan will attend Akron's first medical marijuana harvest facility. CLCE airs concerns about Youngstown City school districts and about their just the level of just how they're being graded. Cities still fighting to get GM to stick around. Reports claim they plan to invest $22 million more in Tennessee facility, and they plan on leaving Ohio. So that's creating a big stir in the community. Youngstown to hire 25,000 financial consultants. Youngstown Municipal Court using pretrial diversion programs, which has been working, they say. So those are the top 8 stories that made it to the Mediator. And at the end of the day, only thing we can ask ourselves is, where are we going with this? You look at some of these stories, when something is working, or we're looking at the facts, we're examining the news, we're talking about the media. The media cannot be that bad. They're only human. Some of these journalists, with the back and forth, Americans hurting Americans, government officials hurting, but then there's the facts. There's things that actually happen, things that people try to protect. We have to ask ourselves, some of our officials, do they regret running for office, or do they regret taking on the stand as an American? Do we have a president president who's actually who is he really a patriot, or is he really just looking out for his better interests? But this is the question, and these are some of the things that may pop up in the media as I've given it to you in the top 8. But these are some questions people are starting to ask. When you look at the seriousness of homelessness and the fact that some people are living without paychecks, there's a reality going on. And you look at some of these communities, people are starting to go in and they're starting to see how they've been affected by just corruption, corrupt politics, and corrupt officials, and it's all coming to light. And when you look at corruption and you look at how one bad apple can just destroy everything, why so many people are afraid of it, but can we credit this administration for getting dirty? Is this just a way to reveal what's been happening all these years? Are there people who have spectated, who have been sitting on the line spectating? Are they right? Has this always been a problem in America? This is the reality of the situation, folks, and this is where we're headed, is the fact that things are being revealed. But will you be ready, or will you be ready? Will you be sitting by waiting for the end, or will you be a part of it? Like I said, I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and I want to wish you a good week, and I thank you for tuning to the meeting with me, Brian West. Have a good week, everybody.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens.